Hello, friends. Welcome back to another episode of Stryperdrive. I'm one of your hosts, Kent, along with my co-host,
Rex.
And it's a privilege today. We are welcoming Stryper author of the book Loud and Clear, released in 2001, Mr. Dale Erickson. And Dale, it's a privilege to have you. Thank you for being here with us and for your time.
It's my privilege. So, yeah.
And Dale co-wrote Loud and Clear, the first ever actually book biography on Stryper, released in 2001, along with his co-author, Jesse Sturdevant. And to begin with, Dale, I know that you are an Army veteran, and Rex and I would just like to thank you for your service.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Thank you for that. So just getting right into this, and I'm trying not to geek out too much this time, Rex. I geeked out last time, Dale, when we had Brett Christensen on, and I'm kind of feeling the same way here because I don't know if you can see behind me.
Yeah, that's the original.
Yes,
that's the original version.
So I have known of you since 2001. So, so anyway, friends out there tuning in to this episode of Stryperdrive, in 1999, during Stryper's dormant years, if you will, going by Dale's book, an idea popped into Dale's mind that he could, quote unquote, write a book on Stryper. The result was 2001's biography, Loud and Clear, again, co-written with his friend Jesse Sturdevant. And this was followed by a reprinting of the book in also an audio format in 2006. Another interesting note about Dale is that in the not too distant past, he also sang backing vocals and shouts with the Christian rapcore band XL and DBD. They opened just a few years back. They opened up for Stryper, and I'm actually familiar with XL and DBD, and Dale got to. He's friends with them, and he was up on stage lending some backing vocals and shouts. And Dale, before we really get into the nitty-gritty of your book, are you still currently involved with XL and DBD at all?
Yeah, it's just that the band's not really rehearsing right now, probably mainly due to everybody's schedule and COVID-19.
Sure.
So it's got a little bit of a hiatus right now, but Todd, who's XL, and I, and a couple other guys are kind of doing this cover band, but we're covering a lot of Christian hard rock metal from back in the day, like Bride, Guardian, Holy Soldier, X-Center, and we actually have permission to cover their stuff, as long as we don't record and sell it, obviously. But
sure.
Yeah. So, and in another way, we are playing in a different form, but as far as XL and DBD, they did have a show scheduled for Capstone Music Festival in Indiana for this past June, but of course that was postponed until next year. So hopefully it'll be on the same stage with White Cross, Deliverance, and Bloodgood next year. That's going to be incredible.
Nice. And Dale, are you playing? I know that you're a drummer. Are you playing drums with them?
Not with XL, no.
Okay.
In fact, Todd's brother Tony, or Anthony Stevens, he's kind of a master drummer. He's really good. No, he's playing drums. Has been playing for XL for probably 20 years.
Okay. I was actually, I remember their album Sodom in America, released on Brainstorm Artist International, and Brother to the Saboteur, and Death Before Dishonor. I was actually a fan of. I had that album, and I was actually a fan. So I think that's cool that you're friends with those guys. So thank you again for being here, Dale. And we're just going to get into the nitty gritty now. Dale, would you mind taking us back to when you first heard Stryper and became a fan? And what was the year, maybe the album, the song, and what made experiencing Stryper for the first time stick with you throughout all these years?
So I'm going to be extending talking here. I want to let the audience know that I stutter and slur my speech. I promise you I haven't been drinking. But I had this when I was in the Army almost 30 years ago. I was going to the Gulf for the war, and I was in the advanced party for our company as an aviation support and combat company. And so we started switching all our gear a few months before the war hit. And it is told us, hey, be ready, we're being deployed somewhere in the Middle East. And so they gave us vaccinations again. And I only had immunizations 2 years before, and took them in the morning. By that night, back down, high chest down for about 3 or 4 days. It's just called this rare condition called Guillain-Barré, but this left me with stutters and slurs. So people, fans, just be patient with me, and I'll do my best. As far as the Stryper thing, would have been 1985, and the year before, I think I was 14 years old, and I got introduced to Christian music the summer before, and my uncle actually is a Christian, and loved me. And in the summertime, he would let me come and stay a couple of weeks with him. And he introduced me to Petra. Well, what is this? Church rock? No, there wasn't even a name for it at the time.
Church rock.
Yeah, I just couldn't get this concept wrapped around my head. But that summer, he took me to my first concert. Was actually Whiteheart.
Yep.
Jeff Moore,
yeah,
Without Distance, opened up for Whiteheart. I had a great time. Didn't buy any albums or anything like that. But next year, I think I bought Petra Beat the System from a store in the mall. And then I think I was turning the radio one day actually, and I heard a Petra song. And I was like, "What? Wait a minute!" So I tuned it in, and it was this show called I think it was called Crosswalk.
Yeah.
Nationally syndicated show. And they said, "Hey, here's this band called Stryper. They go below the lid off heavy metal. Here they are. I think I heard maybe Come On Rock.
Oh yeah.
For the first time, and maybe makes me want to sing one of the Soldiers songs."
Mm-hmm.
And I was blown away. I was like, "Oh my gosh, what is this?" And I recorded it. So,
oh yeah.
From there, I went to the Christian bookstore, found, I think, Soldiers on the Command had just been released.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, no, I take that back. A guy I knew, heard me talking about it. He gave me the Soldiers on the Command tape. That's what it was. Took it home, and I think I played it probably 30 times that first day.
Yeah.
So that's where it started for me. And then when I heard The Rock That Makes Me Roll, that was a song for me.
Oh yeah.
Basically, I became a Christian at that moment. I just thought, wow, all this, from a 14, 15-year-old's perspective, I was hearing Petra and Whiteheart and Ben Resband and Stryper.
Yeah.
And this message was starting to have an impact on me. And when I heard those lyrics about you don't need drugs to help you push on, stand up and fight for what you believe in, I thought, yep. Now I get it. It's not believing in Jesus; it's living for Christ. And that was my pivotal moment in my life. So that was my first experience with Stryper. Yeah.
That is amazing. So, Dale, if I'm understanding correctly, or help me out if I'm not, when you were listening to Come On Rock, were you saying that is kind of the moment that you first received Christ into your heart and made a decision to live for Him?
Yeah, that was the rock that makes me roll. Yeah.
That is so awesome, buddy. I mean, I've heard of testimonies, but I have never met somebody like I'm conversing with you. That's just so cool, buddy. That is so cool that the Lord used Stryper to lead you to the Lord.
Yeah.
I am amazed, man. That's awesome, buddy. That is super cool. And to a much lesser degree, incidentally, Rex and I recently released an episode, our previous episode, and my number one pick for what I consider, in my opinion, to be the number one best Stryper song was "The Rock That Makes Me Roll." That song just did it for me too.
Yeah.
Yep. And am I lying, Rex?
No, that's true.
A funny little side story about that song was in '99. I was hanging with Michael Sweet, and we're at the campground. Yeah, kids were his kids were there. Some other kids in the campground, teenagers, and they would run around, play together, hang out with Mike, and this acoustic guitar he busted out. Yeah, it was, Dale, name your favorite Stryper song. I said, "The Rock That Makes Me Roll." He tried to play it and totally clanked it. I could read it all over my own song.
That is awesome. Now, he can crank it today, of course. He's got his chops back, but that is so awesome, Dale. See, this is awesome, Rex.
Yes.
You've already blessed me twice here, Dale, just getting to hear that second story, but I'm still amazed at that is just so cool that I've met somebody that Stryper directly, let the Lord use to lead to the Lord through their music and the message. And guys, we got to take a quick break, and friends, we'll be right back with more from Dale Erickson here in just a minute. And we're back with our special guest, Mr. Dale Erickson, co-author of 2001's biography, Loud and Clear. So, Dale, you took us to what first made you a Stryper fan, roughly in 1985. And let's go, if you don't mind, to that summer of 1999. You and your co-author, Jesse Sturdevant, your friend, you were riding around in your car. And as I read in your book, the idea popped into your head that you could write a book about Stryper. So what made that thought not only stick in your head, but it gelled? I mean, you rolled with it. What made it stick and gel?
Well, I thought about this question last night, and I didn't think that really it was the Lord that put this ministry in my heart. Not just Stryper, but the Christian hard rock metal community at that time. And I was completely absorbed with it. I bought their albums. I bought like 50 T-shirts. Probably wore 3 or 4 T-shirts a week. The high school, I did my first public speech on Stryper. So yeah, I was a little Stryper, as Robert would say. But hang on just a second. I think maybe my hotspot disconnected. I hope not.
No,
But if we get disconnected, I apologize. Okay, we're good.
Yeah.
And so from there, I went in the military, and I met this band. I met this guy who was doing a Christian rock magazine. Wanted me to write an article on this local Christian metal band named Theocracy.
Yep.
And I don't think it's the same Theocracy.
Okay.
It's a local band in Texas, Temple, Belton, Texas. I interviewed them, wrote an article, and then I promoted a concert on base or on post for the first time in my life. And I did 2 of those, got out of the Army, and then a couple years later, I moved to Louisiana, went to college there at LSU, and ended up working with 2 local bands, with probably about 12, 15 shows. And then I got the idea to do a broad concert. That was my first major, national, international experience right there. And so I had seen Stryper and Bride the year before on tour, so that was cool. But anyway, I probably promoted another 3 shows in the Louisiana area, moved back home, and then to Iowa. And then promoted. I worked with Bride extensively, promoted some other shows, Res Band, White Cross. The mid-'90s, late '90s rolled around. You know, that scene died completely almost.
Right.
Then I promoted another Bride and a group called Clank.
Clank?
Yeah. Do you remember them at all?
I do remember the name.
Yeah.
That was during the grunge period, right?
Yeah, kind of post-grunge, like the industrial type of metal. Just think Circle of Dust, Under Midnight.
Yep.
Mortal.
Okay.
Really cool too. So Clank was opening for Bride on that tour. They did a tour, but I met a local band, Christian metal in Iowa, which is very rare. I asked them to open up. Jesse was the guitar player, songwriter for that band. We became best friends instantly. And then he and I just hung out all the time. You know, I was in my mid-20s, late 20s at the time. No kids or anything like that. Still, we hung out all day long. And we got to talk about our musical influences. And, sure, mine was obviously Stryper and other bands. So I said, I got hundreds of clippings. My mom saved hundreds of clippings of Stryper through Metal Mania circuits and all those metal magazines from the 80s. She actually bought those magazines for me, clipped out articles, and would put them on the fridge with the magnet.
That's awesome.
Yeah, she loved the band too. So that was
That's awesome.
pretty cool. For some reason, I saved those articles. I probably had hundreds of them in a little, an old army box, actually.
Yeah.
So I had Jess in my place. Hey, check this out. I opened up the lid. It's like, what? shining light came out. No, like the Ark of the Covenant, you know. Uh, Hundreds of Stryper pictures and archives. She's like, dude, you're obsessed. Yeah, back then I was.
Yeah.
And I said, I knew so much about Stryper, I could write a book on them. And then it went silent. He looked at me, and I looked at him, and he goes, no, that's a crazy idea. I said, no, it's not. And I mean, it's actually how it happened. And so I seriously gave it a thought that day. And that night, I said, okay, as a fan, what would I want to know about the band that I didn't learn in interviews, you know, from magazines and stuff. So I wrote a chapter. I want to do each guy's background first. How did Tim grow up? How did Oz grow up? Mike and Robert. Did they get in fights at school? You know, what was their life like growing up? And then the pre-formation of the band, even pre-Rock's regime days. Who are the, you know, did you have little garage bands or what happened? Just in very in-depth detail. And then I thought I should cover the making of each album and each tour. So that's how my basic plan started out. And then my biggest problem was contacting the band. You have to understand, this is 1999.
Right.
There were no Facebook or anything like that. The internet is still brand spanking new, basically. And I don't know how, but I got their emails. I researched, I got their emails, emailed all of them. Only Mike responded like the next day. He said, hey, this is a great idea. What's your phone number? And so I kind of thought it was a joke or something. But a week or two later, he called me. And I think you ever see that movie Rockstar?
Yes.
Where he hangs up. I think I hung up on Mike. I thought it was Jesse playing a joke. Mike calling me back. He goes, no, dude, this is Michael Sweet. So, yeah, so that's where it started. Mike's only concern was just make it a positive book. And I said, my only purpose is to tell the good things, the impact that Stryper made on people's lives like me. So that's where it started.
And you know, Dale, you were kind of mentioning it's funny you mentioned about your collection that your mom had for you and it being like the Holy Grail. In my notes here, you know, touching on your book, and you also talked about the time period. No Facebook. I don't even know if MySpace was out yet, but no cell phones. The initial pressing of your book, again, for our listening audience, when they see this, it was released in 2001. And as we were saying, Stryper, this was during Stryper's dormant period between 1993 and 2002 when your and Jesse's book came out. They didn't reunite, I mean, until 2003 for the 7 tour. And I remember people, all of us, we were hungry and thirsty for Stryper, hadn't heard anything about him for a long, long time. I remember ordering your book, and I felt like it was the holy grail of Stryper information back then. It was virtually the only thing out that
Right.
I was aware of. I didn't even have a home computer at that time in 2001. So thank you. When when did your interview process then, Dale? When did you and Jesse, when did it officially begin that you guys set sail to go meet the Stryper guys?
So Mike said on the phone, Dale, you're going to have to come out here and hang with me. We'll do like a, a week. This probably would take a week or more to give you all of that info. And Dale, I'll call the other guys and tell them to get on board, or at least ask. Oz's first, he did reply to my email initially. He said 2 words, no thanks. I was like, oh, no. But then Mike said, no, I'll take care of that. We made plans, travel. I made travel plans to go to Massachusetts and hang out with Mike. Mike said, hey, Dale, I'm staying at the campground for, I do this, my father-in-law owns this camp here. I'm basically the park ranger. You can come out here. I'll give you a tent. You can sleep in this tent for the next week or 2. You don't have to have a hotel room or anything. So Jesse couldn't make the trip, so I took my recording equipment. The list of probably at least 300 questions, and went out there. And Mike, in the meantime, called Oz and Tim and Robert, and at that time, I had an itinerary of interviewing Mike for 8 days, and then flying out to LA to meet with Tim and Oz immediately. So I left in July of '99, I think. Flew out to Massachusetts. We're in the car, drove from Boston to where Mike lives, and went to the campground. Pulled up. His wife, Kyle. Oh wow, she was so kind and generous. Probably, in my short time with her, one of the kindest people I've ever met. And so she just said, hey, I had your tent already set up. There it is. And Mike came up. We obviously met. And for 8 days, man, we banged it out. We sat for sometimes 7 or 8 hours straight, taking a break for lunch and ice cream. But we banged it out, and Mike was like a buddy, he was like a friend. When you say 8 days with someone, it becomes more than just like interviewer to interviewee, like shit. We became friends, joked around a lot, and it was fun, man. It was a lot of fun, very insightful, and I have this one really great memory. He said, Dale, what's your opinion on Stryper if Stryper were to get back together? I said, Mike, I got words for you. God isn't done a Stryper yet. He looked at me, he smiled, put his head down, and it was just a great moment. That moment, I knew, wow, it's really possible for Stryper to get back together. So, anyway.
That was the question I was going to ask you, Dale. When you were talking with them, did you think they had any idea that there was a possibility of getting the band back together and all that. It sounds like it was already somewhat in the back of Michael's mind, possibly.
I think it was. Yeah, and there was still, you know, a little bit of, you know, negative aftermath with the record company. You know, we're going bankrupt and leaving the band bankrupt, and a lot of hard feelings. But I think I'm just kind of like making a guess here. Mike started talking to the guy, at least Oz, before, at least a little bit before I came out there to visit. But I think our book kind of forced Mike and the other guys to start talking again. And so that was a very positive thing for the band. So I am thankful and grateful for that opportunity to help be a little spoke in the wheel of getting that machine rolling again. You know, I wasn't the reason for Stryper getting back together. Not even close. That was the Lord, but let's take a little half smile in knowing that, wow, I both really did do something, you know, well, for the band personally, you know. So, yeah.
Well, your book certainly blessed me, Dale, because I mean, it came out at a time when I'm sure a lot of Stryper fans like me were like, you know, where are they now? Before the episode, you know, there was that "Where Are They Now" episode, but
The VH1.
It really helped to fill in the gap during that period of what all went on and what happened, and you know, around that same time there was your book, and I think, you know, that Stryper Expo in 2000, and then there was one in the same year as your book was released. But
Yeah.
Dale, you mentioned that you went to see Mike.
About the Stryper Expo.
Go ahead, buddy. What were you saying?
Some good stories about that Stryper Expo. that first one, anyway. What was your question? I'm sorry.
So then you personally visited with Mike. Did you and Jesse visit the other guys together, or did Jesse visit some members and you visited some other members?
So I flew out to LA 8 days later, and then Jesse flew out at the same time to LA. We hooked up, got a hotel room, drove to Guitar Center to meet Tim. On the way into Guitar Center, out walked the bass player for Van Halen.
Oh,
Michael Anthony.
Yeah, Anthony, right?
Michael Anthony.
Michael Anthony, yeah. So Jesse goes, hey, you know, look over there. Look over there. It's the bass player for Van Halen. So, and then we went in, met Tim. Tim was just getting off work. I think we went to somewhere to eat first, and Tim was a little he was a little cautious at first. And once we started talking, getting to know each other, within literally an hour or two, he said, just come over to my house. And so we went to Tim's place, which was a guest house on his sister's property, I think. We walked in, and there was like several gold records lining the wall, his dog, and it was a very simple life for Tim at that time. But he turned out to be an incredible wealth of information. I probably interviewed him for maybe 3, 4, 5 days. He said, well, if you're going to know Stryper history, you have to experience it. So he took Jesse and I to the original garage where the band had these little garage Bible studies. In other words, Mike and Bob's parents' house growing up. I can't remember the name of the town now.
Was it La Mirada?
La Mirada, yeah, that's it. That's it. Thank you. We took pictures of it, and then Tim took us to like Gazzarri's and all these other sites. Oh, Robert's old house. You know, the Honestly video where Robert's running out and he drops the suitcase and it's open. We went to that house, took a few pictures, drove to probably, 10, 11, and 12 different spots that day, all over, Southern California. And hey, this is where this happened, and this is where this happened. He was so gracious and fun. But at the end of that day, at the end of the time, he didn't want us to leave. He was having so much fun. Yeah, it's extremely kind and welcoming for us. So then we met Oz, and we went out to eat. I think maybe a day or two of interviews, and maybe 3 days. Recorded. He gave us all his background info, and he said, "Hey, I gotta take you to the best burger joint in California." So we go to this burger joint. We get in the car. He has this massive, like, Scooby-Doo hamburger with like jalapenos, and he said, "If you're gonna be a Mexican, you have to eat, or Latino, you have to eat hot." Yeah, he had this hamburger loaded with jalapenos. And Jess and I were wondering, we were sitting in the car together. Anyway, a lot of fun. But great interview with Oz. Probably one of the most eye-opening experiences for me. I was sitting in the driver's seat, Oz in the passenger seat, Jesse's in the back, maybe vice versa. The tape recorder was in the middle. And Oz said, Dale, I would venture to say, he was talking about his faith and his road to Christ, and about his experience to really coming to Christ after the band ended. And he said, I'll venture to say, I was not saved during my band days. I was not really a Christian. And I heard it. I turned the tape recorder off. I was like, no, that's not true. Type of thing. I turned the tape recorder off. So I turned it off. I said, it's okay. Okay, you can talk off camera. He said, no. He clicked the tape recorder back on. He said, I want people to hear this. I think I was a Christian during that time. It was a really a bomb dropping moment, mic dropping moment. So great.
I can remember, Dale, around that time. Well, it was after, of course, your book was released, but in the earlier 2000s, as I became familiar with a website presence for Stryper, I remember a quote from Oz and he said, "No more fooling around, folks. It's time to get right with Christ." And I've always remembered that quote, and I remember some things about, Oz's testimony about him saying what you were saying, during that period and whatnot. And anyway, what about Robert? What was your experience with Robert?
So we started transcribing tapes, and when you have 70 hours of tape or more, we had tons of tape. We contacted Robert. We made plans in December to go see him. So in the meantime, we transcribed tape. We interviewed a lot of Stryper-related people: Michael Guido, Wes Hine,
Yep.
record company owner for Enigma, Darren Hinton.
Yep.
So I'm still friends with Darren to this day. In fact, she called me about 6 weeks ago. Who else? Those are the big three that I can remember for sure. Got long interviews with them, transcribed their interviews, tried to corroborate and authenticate information between Oz, Mike, and Tim. Take him for his memory of a situation or two, because everybody has different memories of a situation. So
Right.
we tried to kind of congeal those stories together. Then flew out to Vegas in December and met with Robert for probably about 4 days. This is funny though. Yeah. We first met Robert downtown Las Vegas. I think maybe in front of the Bellagio or something like that. Met him. His guys will go into the casino. And so we're walking down the street, and some peddler, pornography peddler, walks up to us, gives us this advertisement for prostitutes. And Bob takes one look at it and goes, God makes beautiful creations. Then he threw it away.
That's awesome.
Thanks for the papers guy. But anyway, he took us to the casino. He said, not too long ago, I slammed 100 in. On the first pull, I got $1,500. So I'm gonna see if I can do that again. Went in the casino. So we're playing some sort of game, blackjack or something. Not really spending any money, just having fun. And I noticed by Robert, he just wants everybody to have a really good time. Really experience what he's experiencing. And so we're just having a good time. We look over to the table next to us. The blackjack is asked Robert, "Are you in a band?" He goes, "Oh, I used to be." "What band?" "A band." "Is it any Stryper?" "Oh yeah, I've heard of them." He goes, "Look over there." And he points to the table next to us. It was Jay-Z to the table next to us. And I said, "Who's Jay-Z?" And everybody laughed.
That's right. That's funny.
Jesse's going, "Oh, Dale." I'm like, "What?"
I'm with you, Dale. I would know Robert Sweet in a heartbeat if I saw him, but Jay-Z, I could pass him on the street and wouldn't have a clue. But well, friends,
we went to a hotel room, maybe the next day. Spent like 12 hours together. We ate breakfast together, lunch, supper, and we just banged out in this hotel room. And real interesting memory that I have is we're interviewing Robert, asking this list of questions. He gave us really in-depth time periods and almost dates to the exact month of all of these previous band members, like all the band members you learn about in the book, Richard Odebegan, Dean Cerny, and all these pre-Stryper guys. And then he was talking about Jesus and the impact of Christ upon his life. And I'm not kidding you, this really happened. Every time he said the word Jesus, this huge stomp would come from the floor above it. It was this big boom sound. And as this guy's partying, right? We'd all look up at the boom. He started talking about Jesus, and then boom, another loud sound. You know, this always happened with Stryper. Jesus, and the devil tries to interrupt.
Hey friends, we're back with our special guest, Dale Erickson, author of Loud and Clear, the Stryper Biography, released initially in 2001, along with his co-author, Jesse Sturdevant. And this has been an interesting tale that Dale has told us. Dale, from the interviews that you and Jesse did to arriving back home, what was the process? You said that you all had taped the interviews, and did somebody have to type out the manuscript for you? And then how much time transpired until you felt that Loud and Clear was ready to go to press from the time that you all arrived back home?
That's a really good question. I can't specifically remember the time frame, but we got back home in December of '99. I do remember trying to invest in speech to text software at the time.
Yeah.
Didn't work. It was terrible. We just had to hit record, type it out, rewind it on tape. And, those old tape recorders from the 80s.
Like a voice recorder?
Yes. So we just rewind that, play it, type it out, rewind it, play it, type it out. Took a long time.
Dale, do you still have those recordings today?
I have all the original tapes still. Yeah.
That's amazing, buddy.
And then let's see. Oh yeah, yes. I had a friend, Carrie, whose wife, Terry. So Carrie and Terry. She was a design artist for Meredith Publishing, and she offered to make a cover. It's the original cover right there that you see. Of course, this was the, I don't know if you can see that. Mm-hmm. This is a re-release. So
Right.
the one behind you was the original release. And so she made the cover. Yep, that's it.
And of course, the back, you have the quotes from some band members and whatnot. And
Right.
pictures inside, got some old classic pictures. There's,
Oh yeah.
I'm just kind of, there's a
I
nice
think
picture section.
Roberts. Yes. I got great stories about those pictures, but so she designed the cover, Terry, and she offered to typeset it for us. She did that. We took it to the printer, to a local printer. Now, in our naive publishing experience, this was our first publishing experience.
Sure.
They did a terrible job. They tried to print the pictures with like pixelated a pixelated look to it. And I said, no, that's not going to work. I promised the guy, Stryper, it would be quality. The pictures would be quality. I did not want to let them down. So we fought with the printer, and then I said, guys are not capable of doing the pictures. So you guys go ahead and do the print part of it, the pages. And I'm going to take the pictures somewhere else. Thank God I did. We put them together, had it all printed out, and I'm not kidding you. I think we said this in the reprint version. We were pulled probably a couple months before the book is released. We got a call from Rich Serpa.
Mm-hmm.
He is the brains behind creating the first two Stryper Expos. So Stryper Expo 2 in California, he called me and said, "You guys want to come? I'll make a table for you." I said, "Well, okay. We're going to release the book around that time." He said, "Release it here at the expo." So yeah, we can do that. I should have said that. But we want to make good in our deal, so we rushed to get this book printed. So we had plane tickets. We were pulling the book off the press at 3 a.m. before our flight. No kidding. Just a couple hours before our flight left, like at 6 a.m.
Wow.
No joke. So, yeah, great question there.
So, Dale, how well then, another great story from you about pulling it off the press and having to take the pictures to a different printer. How well was when Loud and Clear was initially released, how well was it received, and did the order number surprise you?
I think we ordered like 1,000 or 2,000 copies at first. But to be honest, Jesse left the project in late, maybe early 2000, January of 2000. He got a new job, and so I was left with the book by myself. So In January, maybe February of 2000, the first Stryper Expo happened. And the band called me, said, "We want you there." Especially Robert wanted me there. And Robert gave me some pre-Rocks regime pictures they had taken in a mall. You know, those old style camera booths to get in.
Yeah.
And so he had a bunch of those. He gave them to me. I scanned them, printed them on. I had a mock. I had a 3-ring binder here with mock chapters in there. We got that first Stryper. Oh, I got the first Stryper Expo, and man, I was sick. I got really, really sick. I couldn't talk. I was talking like this the whole time. And I remember sitting at the table with Tim and Oz, and Mike and Bob, and I looked outside, and the line was probably 800, 1,000 people. I mean, I couldn't believe it. And Bob took me, Robert, said, "Dale, look at this line. This is amazing." You know, so the overwhelming support at that time, pre-publish it, was unexpected, but well welcomed, you know. So anyway, fast forward to Stryper Expo 2. We printed off maybe 500 copies, took them with us, and hundreds of people came to the table and bought them right away. And then a small nightmare happened. We're relishing in our 5 minutes of fame. A former customer came up and said, "Hey, Dad, no, the ink is rubbing off the book." And Jesse and I'm like, "No, well, maybe it's a fluke." We went walking around, checking on sold copies. I'm sorry, guys, I'm stuttering now.
You're fine, buddy.
A lot of those copies, the ink was rubbing off. So we gave them a second copy, one to keep, in pristine condition like that, and one to read.
Well, bless you guys for doing that, Dale. I mean, that speaks very highly of yours and Jesse's integrity. Of course, that wasn't in question. But just for the record, I mean, I want to say I bought an original copy in 01, and I have no problems with it. You know, I mean, everything's intact. My only thing, and this is my fault, you can see some coffee stains.
Oh, no.
That's my fault. But that's proof that I've been reading your book, buddy.
That's funny because, we started selling in the morning. In the afternoon, we took a lunch break. I took a video camera, went outside the venue. There were at least 100 people reading the book, right?
Yeah.
So I started interviewing people. "Hey, what'd you think about the book?" I read it twice already. It's twice. It's been like 6 hours. I don't know if that. One guy said, "I went to lunch and I read it in traffic. You know, this is before supplement days and auto books and stuff like that. But anyway, it was a very positive, very, very positive response. While I was standing outside the venue, one guy says, "I hope this isn't a fluff piece." And the guy next to him said, "No, dude, all the dirt's there. He against the law period, the breakup, everything's here." The other guy says, "Oh, good. Oh, good." He says, read the book again. So this is a great response from fans.
You know, Dale, you were talking about the against. Oh, go ahead, buddy.
Version, on the back cover of the first version, is there a quote from a fan about having moment to moment? Is that on there?
No, the version that I have, it just has a quote from each band member: Michael, Robert, Tim, and Oz.
Okay, so on the second version, there is a quote on the back that says, "It had me moment to moment." That's actually an inside joke. At the second Stryper Expo, Kenny Metcalf was there. I had already interviewed him for the book, but then we met in person. And Kenny Metcalf is a very funny person. So yeah, he said, "It had me moment by moment. I opened it with a voice and it said loud and clear." You know, being very funny and dramatic about it. So I took that quote and put it on the back of the book. So after the second pressing, a guy wanted his money back because we made a Stryper DVD for the second pressing of the book. Did you guys know that?
Now, I knew that you had an audio book for the 2006 pressing.
Okay, we made a DVD of our experiences, you know, going around Southern California. Southern California with Tim, the second Stryper Expo, and that Kenny Metcalf piece was in there.
Mm-hmm.
So this fan was mad. This fan was mad. He said, "That's not a real quote about the book. That's a joke." I said, "Yeah, it is. It is a joke."
And he wanted his money back because...
Yeah, I gave his money back.
That's crazy, man.
Yeah.
So let's talk real quick, Dale, about in discussing the 2006 version of Loud and Clear, what was the catalyst for the re-release? The new cover, and I only have the original version, of course, so what are the difference between the manuscripts, if any?
Well, in the first, how it came about was Stryper reformed. They got management. They called all this and said, "We're going on a tour. We'd like to have copies of the book." I said, "Sorry, man, we're sold out." He said, "Well, can we pay for another pressing?" He said, "Sure, and you can keep all the money too." shit, I don't care about the money. If we're gonna pay for the pressing, I'm fine. Be like, $5. At the time, it was like maybe $5 a book or something. So we went. Sorry, guys, I'm stuttering a little bit here. They're a management company. Ordered maybe 500 copies. Asked us to front the money, and then they would reimburse us. Okay, so we did it. We faced a lot of spelling errors and just grammar errors, punctuation and stuff like that. Just writing convention errors. So we did that. I had my good friend Brian Keeler to do a new cover. Yeah, Brian is a talented graphic artist. Brian would, in 1988 on the Ngave Trust tour, Brian and I went to a concert, our first Stryper concert together. After the show, we were riding down to get autographs. Brian had no posters, no merchandise, so he took off his shoe and had the band sign it. Brian, to this day, still has Oz's signature on his shoe. So in '99, I'm a little off topic here.
That's great, man.
In '99, Jesse asked Oz, what's some of the oddest things you've ever signed? He said, a shoe. I said, that was my friend, Brian, 1988. Anyway, so fast forward to 2006. We got a new cover design, and then we had it printed up, called Deep South. I think was the company at the time, Deep South Entertainment, maybe. Said, hey, we have the books ready. Here's your bill. And they said, oh, we can't afford to pay you the money for that. So I said, well, we have to sell the book now. So I was like $8,000 in debt. So I had to once again sell the book rather than giving it to the band. And so then we advertised it on, at that time, maybe some Stryper boards and some other websites, HM Magazine, Heaven's Metal. And then we did not sell out of those copies, though. I maybe sold 1,000 copies at the time. So, yeah.
Okay.
Does that answer your question?
Yes, and the other, just to make sure I'm clear, Dale,
Yeah.
with the original version juxtaposed with the 2006 reprint, did you all cover more ground during that time as far as the Stryper, as Stryper moved forward? Did you cover that ground too?
We did not do any new interviews, but deep we asked Deep South, we could keep the same title. They said yes, but take authorized, the word authorized, and then take out the Stryper logo. So those are two main changes. Jesse did like a kind of like a summary of their career from like 01 to 06.
Okay.
From my first press thing to the second press thing, and put that in the book. So,
Right. Dale, you got your finger in the lint. There we go.
in
Better
fact,
picture.
Jesse wrote from "In God We Trust" on. He wrote "In God We Trust" against the law.
Okay.
Post Stryper stuff.
Okay.
So,
Well, that's pretty neat right there. Take us back, and we've got about 10 minutes left, guys, and we'll do a scripture closeout a little closer to that 10-minute wind down. But Dale, from you being that fan, and I think I penciled you down there as saying roughly around 85 the soldiers. Can you describe how you were feeling emotionally when you were on your way driving to meet Michael Sweet and to meet Robert Sweet and to meet Tim? And what were you feeling inside as a fan before you started becoming friends with these guys for, can you remember?
well, yeah, that's a good question. My one concern was I didn't want those guys to think that I was trying to make money, get rich off of them,
Right.
take advantage of them. So I was always really nervous about that. But my experience in some, with other rock bands, White Cross, Bride, I kind of lost that starstruck, feeling. So
Sure.
it wasn't like, oh my God, I'm gonna be Michael Sweet, Like,
Right.
hey, what's up, dude? Nice to meet you. But again, it was the perception that I was trying to make money off of Stryper.
Dale, we got your finger in the way there.
I do again?
Yeah. There we go.
Sorry. That was never the case. Got a new phone, guys. Sorry.
Oh, you're fine.
That was never the case.
Yeah.
I think I had maybe made total like 500 off all that work, maybe. So, if I had made $0, I'd have been just as happy.
Sure.
I mean, good story. Super fan grows up, meets his favorite band, writes a book about his favorite band. So that's one thing in my life I'm really proud of. It's not the greatest book in the world. I'm a much better writer now than I was then. But man, what a great experience. So,
Well, I'll tell you, Dale.
right.
You said that this might not be the greatest book in the world, but I just want to verify myself as a fan of Stryper and a fan of this book, yours and Jesse's book.
Yeah.
It served a great purpose. Because again, let's go back to 2001. People were hungry for Stryper. Where did they go? So much had changed, and I just want to state, you know, that Dale, yours and Jesse's book, and I thank you again for doing this. It served a great purpose. And just like you were talking about those people reading it in one sitting, like, you know, waiting in traffic or whatever. I mean, I'm going to tell you, this was a page turner for me. It certainly was. It was a page turner. And Dale, we got about 5 minutes left, and we're going to close out with some scripture here in 1 second. But we're going to leave the floor with you. Meaning, is there anything else that you'd like to sum up regarding your book or Stryper, or just thoughts in general?
Well, I was talking to Brett Christensen recently, and you gotta remember, at that time, nothing was happening. But then, in the span of 1 year, boom, website, boom, book, boom, expo. It was a God-led thing, truly. I am blessed, and I am humble. Humble about this experience. I never imagined, 20 years later, people would be talking about the book. So I'm just really proud that this book was a spoke in the wheel of getting that Stryper machine rolling again. Again, the guys were so kind, so gracious, and so, friendly. It's never really any like professional separation. It was all like just friends talking from the beginning. So, I want to thank those guys for giving me the opportunity as a super fan. A couple years ago, I promoted a Stryper show for a benefit show for the Puppy Jake Foundation, which is a organization that raises and trains service dogs for wounded combat veterans in Iowa. And Stryper, true to form, they promotional videos for me. They signed things for auction to raise money for Puppy Jake. And the band rolled off the bus. Like, what's up, Dale? Gives me a big hug. So yeah, great experience. I would do it again in a heartbeat. I will say that I've had offers through the years to reprint it and make money. I said, no thanks. Thanks for offering, but talk to Stryper, not me.
So do you keep in contact with the guys somewhat then, I take it, Dale? I know probably not like on a super, frequent basis, but are you in contact with them some?
No, not really. I'd love to visit Oz or, even the band members, but no, not really. But my personal ministry, sorry, my Gambray is acting up again.
You're fine, buddy.
My personal ministry is to those Christian bands and artists like Stryper, Bride, Guardian, White Cross, and to bless them. Sorry. couple of years ago, well, back in '99 or 2000, I met Jamie Rowe, the lead singer of Guardian. I called him a couple of years ago and said, "Hey man, I'm coming to Nashville. I'm going to take you to lunch." And we went to lunch, gave me a copy of the Stryper book. For 2 hours, he geeked on Stryper. Well, I remember when I first met them. I saw the Stryper band in person, you know. So I love to bless those guys and girls, you know, the artists, the bands. I'm still good friends with Jerry McBroom,
Drummer for
Bride, Mike Fegan,
White Cross.
White Cross. Yes. So, thanks to the Lord, I have been able to bless these bands with, you know, friendship, support, concert promoting, a book, that type of thing. So,
Well, guys, I hate to cut this short because Dale, I'm sure we could probably sit there and pick your brain all day, but
yeah.
I just wanted to say again, really quick, thank you for your service.
Yes,
Thank you for blessing us with being on here. It's been an honor and a privilege to have you.
Yes.
Thank you and Jesse for the book. I've gotten many years of enjoyment out of it. I'm just going to close out with some scripture real quick, guys. In reference to Dale and Jesse's book, Loud and Clear, of course, taken from the name or the title, Loud and Clear, from the Yellow and Black Attack. The lyrics to Loud and Clear, some of them state, the hair is long and the screams are loud and clear, clothes are tight, earrings dangling from the ears. No matter how we look, we'll always praise his name. And if you believe, you've got to do the same. And that verse, or excuse me, those lyrics have always reminded me of this verse, 1 Samuel 16:7. The Lord doesn't see the way humans see. Humans look at the outward appearance, but the Lord looks at the heart. So that's always reminded me of that. You know, that verse of scripture has always reminded me of those lyrics and vice versa. So anyway, Dale, thank you so much for being our special guest.
Yes, thank you, Dale.
Before we go, the title Loud and Clear was originally Stryper, the whole truth and nothing but. That was Robert's idea.
Stryper, the whole truth and nothing but?
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. The judge's gavel coming down the bench. Well, that was Robert's idea. Just said, man, let's go with Loud and Clear. The first song, first album. That title was Jesse's idea.
Okay. Well, Robert he's always been one to kind of have, you know, to hell with the devil and God we trust. He's always, you know, the one that kind of has these sayings in mind, if you will, you know. But guys, we're going to sign off, but we'll hang loose together for just a moment more, okay? So thank you, everybody. Thank you, Dale, and we'll see you on the next episode of Stryperdrive.